Hello and welcome to Edison TV. Today we're joined by Stuart Gall, Chief Executive Officer of Intelligent Ultrasound. Intelligent Ultrasound are a software company with a core competence on making ultrasound easier and simpler to use. The company's listed on AIM and it's capitalized at around £33 million. Stuart, many thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, hi Dan, good to be with you.
Great. And can you start with an introduction to the business? In particular, you describe yourself as a classroom to clinic ultrasound business. Could you elaborate on that, please?
Yeah, so as you said, we're an ultrasound software company, and we're basically trying to make ultrasound easier to learn and simpler to use. Now, the reason that's important is that ultrasound's one of the leading imaging modalities. It's the fastest, safest, and cheapest modality within hospital. It's increasingly used all around hospital in all specialities, but it's a difficult skill to learn. So what we're trying to do is make it obviously give you tools that make it easier to learn, and then help you when you move into the clinic and give you tools that help you either scan faster or scan better. So we're doing that by our approach, which I call, the classroom to clinic. So as I've said, we basically give you a simulation tool that teaches you how to do scanning. And then as you move into the clinic and you're actually scanning on a good patient, we give you real-time AI tools that help with that workflow process and support you when you're scanning. And this is quite a novel approach, and we're building quite a successful business in this space.
Great. And looking at your core market, ultrasound, for those of us who are unfamiliar with that vertical, it seems to be a growth vertical, a growth domain. But can you elaborate on the market dynamics that underpin your business?
Yeah. So obviously there's two sides of the business. The simulation side is a growing area. I mean, I think the market's expected to grow at about $200 million over the next couple of years. It's actually, I think, gone through a bit of resurgence. I think we found that hospitals recognize the importance of training, that you need to have a lot of people that can be able to scan with ultrasound. That requires specific training tools. Very specifically, we found that suddenly ultrasound was important for scanning lungs. People that could scan, you need to be able to triage patients quickly. So we developed that would teach doctors, clinics, frontline clinicians how to do very simple triaging scans. We made that freely available to every single hospital that had our scanning device. So this is why, from a simulation perspective, we see that market is growing. Now, the bigger growth side is this whole area of AI in medical imaging. And I think if you talk to every single manufacturer in the world, they say that AI is going to be embedded in every one of their machines over the next 10 years. So we're part of that, at the forefront of that wave. We've focused on taking all the skills we learned in terms of teaching doctors how to scan to providing tools that actually help you scan in real time, giving you real-time feedback where workflow is important, and we can help either speed up that workflow, but also increasingly at the moment, you're seeing it's all very well saying scan more to a sonographer or a doctor, but actually that's causing burnout. It's putting stress on the operator. So our tools are designed to actually relieve some of that stress by giving you the feedback, giving you the support. So it's a bit like having a consultant standing behind you saying, oh, that's a good image, you can save that. So this market is expected to grow to well over $1 billion over the next sort of 5-6 years. And again, we want to be at the forefront of that.
Great, thank you. And then looking more at the more established training side of the business. I mean, can you discuss the growth drivers there? You've introduced new modules, and I think there's underlying growth in terms of the number of scanners out there. But yeah, could you just elaborate on the growth drivers within that part of the business first?
Yeah, so I mean, one of the things we've been doing is increasing our range of products. So there's the two ways we're trying to grow at the moment. We're trying to grow by selling more products into the countries we're actually selling in, by selling into more countries, so we can spread the reach of our products, but also broadening the range of our products. So, we started as a business, we just sold one product. It was the Scan Trainer Simulator. It was all about teaching obstetrics and gynecology. That then evolved into HeartWorks, which is all about cardiology, anesthesiology. So it's teaching everything to do with the heart. 3-4 years ago, that became Bodyworks. So Bodyworks was launched, and this is all about POCUS, point of care scanning, emergency medicine, intensive care, critical care. That device very successfully launched, phenomenally well over the last 2 years. And then this year we launched our first baby product, which is a neonate and pediatric simulator. So broadening the range so that when you think of ultrasound, you think of Intelligent Ultrasound as a simulation provider. I think the two ways that we reach that market is we sell direct in the UK with our own sales force. We've also got an office based in Alpharetta in Atlanta in the US, and that's houses our US sales team, US support services. So we sell direct in the UK and the US, and then we sell through a range of resellers in Europe and the rest of the world.
Fantastic, thanks. And then moving on to the clinical side there, you discussed the value proposition there. Looking at the technology stack, can you discuss, I guess, how that's built up? What parts are proprietary? What parts of, I guess, your own domain expertise you're bringing into that, and how you put all that together to create good outcomes?
Yeah, so I think, as I said, the business obviously came out of teaching ultrasound, and we recognized that a lot of the skill sets we had were very relevant to providing software that could be used in real time in the clinic. So, you know, the ability to segment images, the understanding about what doctors needed to use, especially when you're doing a protocol-based scanning. A lot of scanning is basically, you've got to follow a protocol that, you know, an international-based standard. So we decided to, we acquired 2017, a small startup operation out of the University of Oxford. And this was based on all the research from a lady called Professor Alison Noble, one of the leading lights globally in terms of using machine learning algorithms to automatically evaluate ultrasound images in real time. And that, over the last 3-4 years, has enabled us to bring out a range of products. So the first product was we called it ScanNav Assist. This was all about basically obstetrics scanning. So if your partner is pregnant, 20 weeks, they do the big anomaly scan where you're looking at every structure within the fetus to check everything's okay. It's a detailed scan. You've got to take around 21 images. Well, you take more images than that, but you've got to look at 21 structures. And our software automatically, as the sonographer's scanning, when the sonographer freezes the image to say, right, okay, I'm now going to diagnose it from that image, it's got to meet a protocol. And our software can identify the image they've frozen, and then automatically checks, are all the structures that are required to be visible according to the international protocol, are they there? And then it gives a green light tick or an amber to say you've missed maybe one of the structures. And that's done instantly. You press the button, so you get immediate feedback. So you can see how that's very supportive to for the scanning operation, giving them feedback, giving them that sort of security safety net that actually they've met the protocol and they're not going to have to ask the patient back later because they missed something. That product is sold under the brand name Sonolist by GE. So we signed an exclusive deal with GE in 2019, and the first products are now in effect coming to market. You know, COVID impacted on product launches, etc. But the main GE product now that has this system on it launched in July this year. And that's why we think this is suddenly a really big step, that our software's embedded into the leading ultrasound manufacturer in the world, and our software's on it providing real-time feedback to doctors. So that's the ScanNav product. We developed a second product. So this, obviously, so ScanNav is basically follows our channel to market, which is through OEMs, provide them with software that they can embed in new ultrasound machines. But we also at the same time developed a product for a different market, for the anesthesiology market. This is all about local anesthesia. If you have an operation on your hand or your leg, you can do a nerve block that's done under ultrasound guidance. So you use ultrasound to image the arm, in this case, and then you're going to direct a needle to the nerve and inject the anesthetic over the nerve. You want to avoid the artery, etc. So the structures that you want to see to avoid and structures to see that you want to inject around. And so our software automatically in real time highlights those structures on the screen to the anaesthetist. Now, the reason that was important is that feedback from, that we had from the market was that 80% of local anaesthesia blocks are done by about 10 to 20% of anaesthetists. And the reason the 90 to 80% didn't do them was the confidence of ultrasound. And so could you give us a tool that made us more confident? So it's for competent but less confident anaesthetists in terms of doing peripheral nerve blocks. And this product's called ScanNav Anatomy. It was CE approved last year. It's gone to market. It's a plug-in device that is, so it's our own medical device that we plug into an existing ultrasound, gives you a second screen with all the color highlighting and guidance on it. That product's just been launched. So these two products now regulatory approved and in the market are the reason we're sort of confident that we're starting to have a real impact in this AI imaging market. We have a third product, which actually is our, I guess, sort of really truly fits with our classroom to clinic approach. So we have this product called Needle Trainer. Now, Needle Trainer is a simulator which is simulating the needle going in, doing that injection, but you can use our product on a live patient. Then obviously there's no needle that goes in, it's a simulated needle. It's a bit like the theatrical knives that the sword actually goes into the hilt. But actually that's the same thing with the needle, but then the needle appears on the ultrasound as if you're scanning that real patient. You then overlay the peripheral nerve block and you can learn how to do all this in the classroom. And then you go into the clinic and you've got the peripheral nerve block products in real time giving you feedback. So those three products are now on the market and starting to sell. This is the first year we're sort of getting material sales. And the whole aim is to basically grow this side of the business to be as big as the simulation business over the next 3 years. And then you're going to see a dramatically different business to the one you see today.
Perfect. So you said you want the clinical business to grow to the same size as the similar business, as the simulation business, over the next 3 years. In terms of, I guess, measuring that progress, what should we look to in terms of milestones to be able to sort of gauge whether you're on track to reach that goal?
Yeah, so I think there's a number of things. So obviously one is the continued relationship with GE, the continued launch of products on the full GE range of women's healthcare machines. That's, you know, number one. Number two would be, although ScanNav Anatomy is CE approved for sale in the UK and Europe, we are in FDA approval pathway at the moment. The target was to have that approval this half of the year. We are on track for that, but that's clearly a milestone, is FDA approval, because the US market is clearly going to be the key for making ScanNav Anatomy a sort of major pillar of our sales. And then I think generally there'll be, obviously, look at the numbers. Are the numbers growing? So, you know, over the next 2-3 years, watching the clinical AI catching up with the simulation side of the business. And then I guess finally, there'll be making sure that our pipeline of new product is coming through. You know, we think we're at the forefront. We're one of the players at the forefront of this space, but it's important to keep your foot to the floor. You can't just stop and say that's it, 2 products were finished. You've got to have, you know, the follow-on wave coming through, potentially looking at, you know, the other next extension of the market. You know, you've got teaching in the classroom, you've got taking our software into clinic, but then you've got, can you give diagnostic tools that might be able to go to primary care or potentially even go to scanning at the home? So can you take our products and take them into this even bigger marketplace there is? So all those combined, I guess, are all the milestones we're looking for, some imminent and some, you know, looking longer into the future.
Fascinating stuff, and lots of initiation and initiatives ongoing. Stuart, many thanks for your time today. Fascinating discussion. And we look forward to reconvening again on the 27th of October.
Great. Look forward to it. See you then.